कांग्रेस पार्टी को कम से कम 150 सीटें दिलवानी है। क्यों? क्योंकि अगर 150 सीटें नहीं आई, ये फिर से चोरी करने की कोशिश करेंगे।
Namaste, Jai Hind, and it's Result Day live, ladies and gentlemen. And here on the CNN News 18 network, we have to tell you that this is the place you have to be. No one has covered the Karnataka elections like we have, on ground. And we will get you those people who have travelled the length and breadth of Karnataka over 60 long days to get you the pulse of the people of Karnataka. What was Karnataka thinking going through the various ups and downs, ebbs and flows of this entire campaign mode? We will start Result Day live with a conversation with the News 18 network reporters. Those who are on ground covering the 31 districts, 224 assembly constituencies, more than 50 reporters who have traversed the length and breadth of Karnataka. It is a big day, ladies and gentlemen. Be it for the Congress, be it for the opposition, be it for the BJP. Cue Lok Sabha 2024. Cue the three big states that are going to polls after Karnataka. The story remains that you cannot lose Karnataka. Those who win Karnataka will believe that they will get a huge momentum. So I've got Harish Upadhyay, Akshara, Rohini Swami, Aman Sharma, Shivani Gupta, Pallavi Ghosh, everybody who have gone right through the length and breadth of Karnataka over 60 days. Zaka has had some fun at VV Puram sampling the food and also traversing in Bangalore. I was there for a day, not much, but we will talk to them and ask them what went through in Karnataka, who got the momentum, who peaked at the right time, did someone peak too early, what were the voters thinking in different places. We'll talk about all of that. First, let's go across to Rohini Swami. Rohini, the consensus is that no one has travelled Karnataka more than you have, amongst all of us. So we'll start with you. What has been your experience and what is your expectation on result day?
Well, if you look at the way, I have basically covered almost around 3,000, 4,000 kilometers of Karnataka in the last 1.5 weeks. And in that time also, what the sense that we got is that there are multiple issues in various regions, be it the old Mysore region, be it coastal Karnataka, or be it for that matter, we see also parts of Kittur Karnataka and Kalyan Karnataka. And in that, the issues that largely people have been talking about is development. They've been talking about issues about employment and inflation. Now, these are things that they wanted that to be addressed. But corruption is something that seems to have basically connected with the people, especially the campaigns from both sides, be it from the BJP side or from the Congress side, both of them. The Congress claiming that the BJP was corrupt and the BJP saying that they have given better governance. But in all this, what I've also gotten sense in the feel amongst the people is that they want a stable government. They are tired of opposition governments. They are tired of the fact that they have to go into by-elections and by-polls every few months if possible because another party is trying to bring down the other. They wanted a single party, preferably for 5 years, who can govern and deliver the promises they have made. Now, whether people have made that judgment or not is we need to see. But at the same time, they're also hoping that they are tired of the tag that Karnataka is constantly being tagged as the most corrupt state as well. They want to ensure that something that comes to them comes in a way that the government gives it to them because it's their right. As citizens of the country, as citizens of people's residents of Karnataka, they hope that the basic Annabhagya scheme, the schemes of milk, of for that matter, jobs that have to be given or rice that has to be given, the basic things.
So, Rohini,
they want that.
Stability is what the people of Karnataka almost you felt as a running theme when you travelled across. The other person who has been travelling extensively as well and has brought some excellent half-hour shows for us is Harish. Harish, hello. Give us a sense of what you thought was the dominant issue among the people.
Well, three crucial issues. One, whether parties like it or not, caste is not going away anytime soon. This election too has been fought on caste lines. You will see that differentiation when the votes come in tomorrow, when the results come in. You will see that there are regions where a particular caste is dominant and they voted for that particular party. That's very clear, although some of the parties didn't want that, especially BJP one. Second, whether you call it freebies, whether you call it Revidi culture, whether you call it social welfare push, it's here to stay, and people are making a differentiation. We spoke to people right from South Karnataka in Varuna, Nanjangud, to people in Raichur, Bellary, in northernmost tip of the state. And all those places, they are making that differentiation. Women are saying, yes, perhaps a 2,000 rupee that's given to the woman household head works for us. It's a huge helping hand. Youngsters are quick to point out that the unemployment stipend that the Congress party is talking about is not something that they believe is something practical. They are saying create jobs. So they are able to distinguish between what is a freebie, what is a social welfare push, and they perhaps will think about it when they vote. The third point that we need to talk here is, remember, the Ujjwala scheme was a huge hit for the BJP in Uttar Pradesh and various other places. But in Karnataka, there have been complaints saying that we are finding it extremely difficult to pay 1,150 rupees per cylinder. That's something that even BL Santosh, in fact, in one of those conversations that he had on Twitter, mentioned that because of the international crude oil prices, that's gone up. That's something that the BJP might feel.
Well, but does it matter? Does it matter for the people on ground? Harish, I'll come back because we'll get a word in from everybody. But just quickly, ladies and gentlemen, we want to flaunt something. We want to flaunt the network of our reporters and what we have done. So I'm going to get in here on Air Alexa, very, very special graphics that's an ode to our reporters and our coverage on ground. 50 reporters, like I told you. 224 constituencies, 31 districts, 60 days. It's the most comprehensive coverage. No one has covered Karnataka like us. So we'll get you all the aspects, the insights, and of course the fun moments. And we'll ask everybody what was their most memorable moment. So be it Aman, Pallavi, there is Harish, there is Neetu, there is Rohini, who has gone on ground, Zaka, Shivani, everybody went on ground. Akshara has been there. Neetu Raghukumar, Purnima Murli have come down from their core states of Kerala and Tamil Nadu and also traversed, just like some of the politicians have, who have left their core states and come here to campaign, canvass against the various groupings of people. But before we go back to our reporters and whether or not they agree with what the pollsters, the exit pollsters have come out and said, will this number stand or is this actually going to be a decisive mandate? Let's quickly look at what the poll of polls said. The mega poll of polls looks at a fractured mandate yet again. Contrary to what Rohini just said, that the people want a decisive mandate. They want a clear, stable government. But if this stands at the end of the day, then it won't. But there are a few outliers. There are those who have given a runaway victory for the Congress party. There are those who have given a clear mandate for the BJP. But largely, the consensus is that the single largest party on result day should be the Congress party. Many believe it may just be in pole position to form government on its own. The kingmaker JDS looks weakened compared to 2018. Really at least about 12 to 15 seats lesser than the last time around. Now, will that stand? Is that going to happen? Let's take it to Pallavi Ghosh and Aman Sharma. You've also done a lot of Chehalkadmi, so I'm going to ask you, have you girls picked up Kannada there after spending time in Karnataka?
Not me, but I've learned how to make a dosa. I can make a perfectly round dosa. So, yeah, that's
there are two people who figured it out, Priyanka Gandhi and Pallavi Ghosh. They both figured out how to make a dosa.
PG also works, huh?
She's PGV.
yeah, there's no V in Pallavi.
There's no V in Pallavi. Yeah, so, just to come back, seriously, what I picked up from Karnataka is people are fun. They are not very aggressive. They don't fight, but politically very astute. So not many of them were talking openly. Language is an issue, which I certainly found one. Language is an issue, and why not? But, just to talk about a party I actually cover, which is the Congress party, I think it's actually do or die for them. It's very, very critical for the Congress party to win Karnataka elections. The Congress president comes from Karnataka, that's one. Second, unlike in other state elections over here, they began early. They prepared very well. They began early, so which also brings the criticism, did they peak early? Third is that the social media campaign, aggressive campaigns, and also Rahul Gandhi is the lengthiest and the most successful part of the Bharat Jodo Yatra was actually Karnataka. So even if the Congress party says, look, his Yatra was not political, that's not true. The true test case of the Bharat Jodo Yatra has been Karnataka, and most importantly, I think this is one election which managed to rein in Rahul Gandhi. He wanted to talk about his favorite topic, which is the Adanis and Rafale, which he was told absolute no. So he did not speak about that. He stuck to local issues. So I think if they win this election, that means they're going to get a little hang of the political strategy kind of right. I mean, I think they're going to replicate it then in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and so on and so forth.
The fact is that Mallikarjun Kharge
Yeah.
The Congress president is from this state.
Yeah.
So lots at stake for him personally as well.
Yeah, because see, I mean, that's what, the problem in the Congress party is that topmost does not mean that you get the perception battle right.
Yes.
I mean, Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister for 2 terms, but he was always called a weak Prime Minister or remote controlled. Kharge has often been called a remote controlled Congress president. And that's something which the BJP says. I cover the Congress party, so I would notice, the go-to person would always be Rahul Gandhi rather than a Mallikarjun Kharge to solve their problems. This is Kharge's moment. He'll have to show that, I come from a state, from Karnataka, I am the Congress president.
And I represent a crucial constituency.
Yes, absolutely. And he was the one who very strongly gave it back to the Prime Minister on many points. That poisonous snake remark of his, he was managed to kind of shrug it off by, immediately apologizing.
No, but there was also this impression that was there an attempt to sabotage this election internally, because the manner in which certain issues which were seen as a localized election became a national election posed that jibe?
Well, we'll have to wait to. I think the biggest faux pas the Congress made was that Bajrang Dal.
If that sabotage had to happen, it started with Mallikarjun Kharge. Why would he sabotage in his own state? But Aman, quickly, and then we'll bring in Zaka and Shivani before we take it
I would split this election into 2 phases. I would say that there was one election pre-April 26th when it was the Congress which looked like having the edge, because Congress was solidly going to the ground with its 5 guarantees. Congress worked for almost 2 months to go home to home with its guarantee card promising these 5 guarantees, and which I think they got some good momentum. But after 26th April, 2 key events happened. One was 27th April, which Pallavi said, the poisonous snake remark by Mr. Kharge. And 2nd May, the Congress manifesto, which mentioned the ban on the Bajrang Dal. These are the 2 issues which I feel brought BJP back into the reckoning very, very strongly. And obviously, they were backed by the Prime Minister's high voltage campaign, his 2 roadshows in Bangalore and Mysore. That is what I think gave BJP the edge. So I would split it into 2. The second last fortnight is when the BJP got the edge. Before that, the Congress had the edge. Now, who outweighs each other remains to be seen. We'll know in the results when they're declared. But this is something which was clearly visible in the election. Second point, I think this election will be decided by the women of Karnataka. In more than 112 seats in Karnataka, it's the women who outnumber men voters. The rupees 2,000 promise for women by the Congress has a resonance on the ground. Women have been speaking about it when you go to the ground, and I think all of us have captured that. The BJP really didn't have much of a counter to that cash toll. And, it's a fact that LPG cylinder is a big issue. The 1,100 rupees over the LPG cylinder was costing in Karnataka. So have the women who traditionally have always backed the BJP in a general election, in every state election, for various reasons, for the LPG cylinder, for Ujjwala, for Swachh Bharat, for toilets, for rations, have in this election, the women shifted in some manner to the Congress because of this
issue. Have the women started feeling that perhaps they can get the best of both the worlds?
Exactly.
In the state elections, as it is, the centre is not taking away the benefits or the schemes that they are giving.
I was discussing this with Maria the other day, that I went to one house where this woman told me a very interesting thing, कि ये जो 2,000 रुपया है ये तो कांग्रेस देगी, जो सेंटर से 6,000 रुपए पीएम किसान निधि का था वो तो आएगा ना, वो थोड़ी बंद हो जाएगा. So voter I think has become very, very intelligent. They want laddus in both their hands, and the Congress obviously also, I think, amongst all the states in the country, the strongest organization that the Congress has is in Karnataka. This is their strongest state. If they don't win here, I don't think they can win anywhere.
No, but I think one of the things that I saw, a couple of things which I felt, I was there in Bangalore for a few days and in Mysore, that traversing Hassan, Kanakpura, the old Mysore belt. I think what I got to sense was there is a serious backward class consolidation that's happening. Whether it is Dalits, Kurubas, the Ahinda vote, as it were. Not just personified by Siddaramaiah, but I think it was more a Congress vote as well. She talked about the Bharat Jodo. One of the congressmen I spoke to in Bangalore, he said, something happened in the Bharat Jodo where they had this rally in Davangere. And Davangere is not a citadel or a fortress of the Congress. In fact, Davangere is bang in the middle of the state. It's a Lingayat, fortress. It's a BJP fortress. And it was Siddaramaiah's 75th birthday in the middle of the Bharat Jodo. And there were 10 lakh people. People were coming in trucks and buses. So this guy who I was speaking to said, and this was December or maybe January or sometime, where he said, I think it was December, where he said, we saw that, people coming in bullock carts, in buses, in caravans, and we realized something was up here. Something was happening here. We couldn't put a finger to it, but something was really up. So I think that other than the women sort of vote share going up, and by the way, the EC has released figures in Bangalore. Out of 28 seats, in 24 out of 28 seats, women have outvoted men. So I think that's a phenomenal record.
It's quite significant, and is that going to influence the results?
Yeah.
We'll have
who
to
they have voted for is a...
You know, but it's interesting.
Priyanka Vadra was also used extensively towards the end. You know?
No, but-
so they
but-
did. And Sonia Gandhi was also brought in.
Yes,
for
but
just one
Pallavi, if
rally.
we were to make this comparison between, say, Bihar, you know, at that time in Bihar also everybody came to the conclusion that it's like a wave election in favor of Mahagathbandhan. Then we saw what happened in the results. Because the women as a constituency, they came out in huge numbers towards the end, in the later part of this 5-phase election that we saw in the state, and they voted for the BJP. You know, so I'm saying that women as a constituency, while we look at their promises that have been made, they are also very unpredictable constituency.
And Congress, in fact, thinks that, you know, women have shifted towards it because initially the Congress had only 4 guarantees in their guarantee card. They added a 5th guarantee, the free bus travel for women, because they thought...
I don't think, I mean, I agree with you. And I don't think we should think that this has just happened. I mean, there are little nuances which the Congress party started indulging in. For example, Rahul Gandhi going on that bus with women. Okay, and he said, and, you know, it was a very structured thinking that, you know, we have to woo this particular vote bank. And Priyanka Gandhi Vadra being brought in, Sonia Gandhi being brought in.
My only question is, Shivani, did they do it at the right time? Did they peak in
on
the
the big
middle
one.
overs or not in the death overs?
Anand, I would say that in comparison to covering elections, for example, in states like Gujarat, UP, the elections were very muted in Karnataka. The electorate is also a little bit muted. And I found it to be, frankly, a waveless and an issue-less election, in the sense that there was no one dominating issue that was on top of everybody's lips. There was no issue like that. And contrary to people like us in studios, a lot of the times, corruption is not that issue that I found on the ground. Corruption is not the issue the people talk about, the first thing. But it is an election where I think people who are voters of the Congress and people who are voters of the BJP have already made up their mind. It's very difficult to shift them. But so the most important thing is in this election will be what is that shift, whether it's the woman voter, whether it's the Dalit voter, what is that shift and how much of that shift is going to happen between these categories. The other thing I will also add is that I think there is a class component in these elections. Because in Bengaluru alone, I went a lot in coastal Karnataka, in Hubli, Dharwad, and then in Bengaluru. You go to a Nandini milk parlor, the class of people is different. They sell you different things. You go to a different eatery where the class is middle class, upper middle class, they tell you different things. And they are quite divided. So actually, along with caste, which I'm sure, as the conventional wisdom is, I think class will also be a very important factor.
Class will be matter. And, interestingly, Prakash Belawadi, let's bring in Akshara and Ritu also, and Neetu is also with us. So you've not had your word. So let me ask you, Akshara, what do you think? Because Prakash Belawadi, I remember on the day of exit polls, talked about this corridor of uncertainty. It could be a 2 to 4% corridor of uncertainty, whichever way it goes. So, Akshara, let me ask you before I bring in Neetu Raghukumar and also we'll take it across to Harish from there. So, weigh in with your thoughts after Akshara and Neetu finish. Yes, Akshara.
Well, I covered Mumbai Karnataka region or the Kittur Karnataka region, which is obviously a BJP stronghold. And if you take a look at the previous electoral results, 30 out of 50 seats in the Kittur Karnataka region were backed by the BJP. So this particular region plays a very vital role when it comes to Karnataka election. So this particular, in this particular elections, however, the results can vary there. The 3 main challenges which the BJP faces here is that 1, the rebellion, it is stung by rebellion, and 2 main leaders who have deserted BJP and joined Congress are 2 Lingayat leaders from the Kittur Karnataka region, as you know, Shettar and Lakshman Savadi. So more than Jagdish Shettar, they are wary about Lakshman Savadi, because one, Lakshman Savadi has sway over the Ganika votes who reside in Gulbarga, Bidar, Bagalkot region. So they're more wary about that. Plus, he speaks Kannada and Marathi very fluently, and BJP in the previous elections used him to campaign aggressively in the bordering region of Maharashtra where Marathi-speaking population reside. So once again, they are a bit worried about the Savadi factor there. So another reason is the Panchamasali factor. Yes, even though Bombay negotiated, there are few leaders who are still upset with it. And their fight with the Panchamasali Lingayats, when it comes to Panchamasali Lingayats, hangs in a balance. And the other which I noticed is the 5 guarantees. Wherever I traveled in every constituency, the sitting MLA of Congress, he or she holds the guarantee card of Congress. All these 5 guarantee cards, and right from the day one, they aggressively campaigned. They played the BJP's game in these elections. Right from day one, they aggressively campaigned in every constituency, holding these guarantee cards. You had Siddaramaiah, DK Shivakumar, and all the other leaders banking majorly on these promises.
Right.
So this is
and reservation as a factor, since you talked about Panchamasali Lingayats. Was that something that you heard repeatedly and particularly after what the Supreme Court had put it on hold? Akshara?
Well, you see, they did say that you had Jayamrutyunjaya Swamiji who headed the reservation agitation in Karnataka, stating that the BJP will face a political impact if they are not provided with the 2A reservation status. But the Bommai did try to negotiate. I think it has worked well for the BJP. Right now, they have pacified the appointees, the main seers who led this agitation. Right. So in turn, they can pacify their followers and ensure that they vote for the BJP. That hangs in the balance there. And once again.
Akshara, let me just bring in Neetu also, and let's open this up for everybody to get their points. What are the salient features? And of course, we'll come back to the fun part. Amidst all the work, I'm sure a lot of you had some fun moments, some standout moments right through this election coverage, which you'd say, ye yaad rahega, out of what we did in Karnataka. But first, Neetu, where were you? And what did you feel? How different is Karnataka from Kerala?
The parts which I went to were northern Karnataka, and that too was Vijaypura and Badami district. So one thing that stood out was how backward these constituencies were. And as you said, when you compare with Kerala or even other parts of Karnataka for that matter, I have travelled to other places also. Yes. These two constituencies, how backward they were, that was a starking revelation, to be frank. People struggling for water 24/7 in their homes, not even 24/7, like every day. They were in Vijaypura, they were actually telling that water comes once in 10 days and 15 days. And also a lot of these youngsters moving out from the district for better opportunities. Their main demands, like in this place, Yatnal is the MLA there. We know that he has been quite controversial. He even made a statement against Sonia Gandhi. So that entire constituency was quite polarized heavily. They're talking about on those lines, on religion's lines. But when you talk to the people on the ground, first thing in their mind that comes is development. They keep saying that is what we need. And this was a district which had Gol Gumbaz, which is the second largest tomb in the whole world. And they're saying that there's nothing done to develop this tourism, water, roads. These were all issues that they were facing in development. Then the other constituency that I went to was Badami, where Siddaramaiah himself was the MLA for the past 5 years. There also, they could have been, much could have been done in that constituency. Even the people there were actually telling when Siddaramaiah became the MLA, they thought that they will get in a lot. I mean, many of them say that yes, Siddaramaiah has done a lot in the constituency, but they were hoping more because he's the opposition leader. They thought that it could take it to a whole new level. You know that the rock cave temples, the famous rock cave temples and the Pattadakal temples, these are all built by the Chalukya dynasty. And I couldn't wonder if it was in any other state or even in Kerala for that matter, how it would have been promoted. But you don't even have buses connecting these monuments, these historical monuments. So the stakeholders there, the hoteliers there say that this is a major issue. Even if somebody like wants...
Yeah, complete, and then Harish and Rohini weigh in on this. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I was just telling that even people, the hoteliers there, people who came there were telling that they need proper hotels at least and proper transport facilities there. So in both these constituencies, what I heard was development, and both of them had a lot of tourism to offer, a lot of historical monuments to offer, but definitely that is not being done.
Potential, everyone feels this. Harish and Rohini, even when I've got family in Bangalore, Zaka has got connections in Bangalore. Every time we come down to Karnataka and we travel outside, we feel that it's all concentrated in certain pockets of the state, whereas other parts which have so much of potential have been largely untouched. Rohini, agree? And then Harish, yeah.
If you're asking about Karnataka,
yes.
And so let's look at it. And what Neetu is saying is also right, because there have been several regions, and these are the North Karnataka regions, especially of Kittur Karnataka and Kalyana Karnataka, that have not seen so much of development, and people have been demanding this time and again. Promises have been made, but whether promises are being delivered or not. Finally, if we saw how did the election finally, the campaign run into, it ran into something which initially started with Tipu versus Savarkar, then went into Bajrang Dal and other communal issues as well. And then it came down to what Harish also said in terms of caste politics, right? And especially in North Karnataka, where we saw about the Lingayats and how much it is important for them to their role in this particular election. But if we talk about development, well, people have been seeking this time and again. Water, basic issues is what people want. They want basic drinking water. They want basic food. In terms of the Annabhagya scheme, or the food grain scheme that we're talking about, the PDS scheme does not even trickle down to the people. As I spoke to a lot of people there, they were saying that they were only receiving 3 to 4 kgs when the entitlement is between 10 to 15, even 20 kgs, which is being promised by political parties as well. So think of it, that families can't even get basic right to food. And these are the issues that need to be taken care of. Another issue is also about how in these are dry, arid areas, North Karnataka region.
Yes.
Extremely parched in many, many places. Water is such a huge issue, and I remember not just election, but the previous elections that I've covered as well. I remember there are villages, especially in the borders of Karnataka, which border Maharashtra as well, where wells are dried up and people actually take their pots and dig the ground.
That was one of the aspects, Rohini, which also came when this entire fracas between Maharashtra and Karnataka was raised in that entire Belagavi region, and on both sides they said we don't have water. It seems to be a similar problem. But Harish, would you agree with Aman, and let's now get this going between all of us, would you agree with Aman that there are 2 phases to this election? Till the 25th, 26th of April, where one party had the momentum and then things started swinging around. How much of an impact did PM Modi, his arrival, have?
Well, you look at it, that appears to be the case, at least in the media narrative. But you go on ground, there are 4 different issues that actually matter. Corruption and anti-incumbency, especially in backward districts, that's something that everyone spoke about. For someone to get 6-7 kgs of rice, if they're shelling out money, they're not getting that quota, they're getting 4 kgs, someone has to travel, someone has to give bribe at the PDS shop. Those are things that will hit the government. And remember, at many of these places, the local MLA is the government for them. That's one crucial issue. The second aspect that we saw was leadership. Many within even BJP supporters said, yes, we want to support the BJP, but we are not convinced with Bommai's leadership. That's been a huge challenge that even the BJP, several of its leaders off camera say that, yes, we lack a strong leadership at the state level. The third point that many actually are not speaking is the rallies that Siddaramaiah did. Remember, there was this 10-day period from 24th of April till around 3rd or 4th of May. He campaigned in Kalyan Karnataka and Kittur Karnataka region every day, 4-5 of those campaigns. And many within the Congress believe that could be the game changer for the Congress, because these are 2 regions where the Congress has opportunity to gain. And that's why they're focusing on that extensively. The other aspect that we'll have to talk here is the consolidation of caste. Probably it will change this time round. The Congress believes that the Muslims, the Kurubas and the SC right will back them en masse. If that happens, the Congress says it's easy for them to cross the halfway mark. On the other hand, the BJP says that we believe a significant chunk of OBCs, Lingayats and the SC left will back us. So it really boils down to how many of these castes will back which party and what is the kind of magnitude or turnout of these castes. That will really decide which way this election goes.
Social engineering perhaps emerge tomorrow? A new combination of castes that will emerge in favor of whoever the winner is. But having said that, I mean, the point that is being made, BJP did have a slow start, but with the Prime Minister's presence, it became an election before 25th of April and post 25th of April because of the campaign blitzkrieg, and perhaps also because of the issues that were given to the BJP on platter. But I'll just finish that point. First, the point that has been made in the context of the Prime Minister and also the Bajrang Dal ban. So the question then is, Pallavi, come in on this, particularly when we say that the BJP went for that experiment of changing 40% of its candidates. But Karnataka is different from, say, a state like Gujarat, where it's an iron fist control of the center on the state leadership and the state. Here, you saw rebellion in the form of Jagdish Shettar and another former deputy chief minister who rebelled and joined the Congress. So perhaps that was not calculated. A change in the terms of 40% may be a great idea, but it can work only in certain states.
No, but if we talk about the Jagdish Shettar point, I mean, I was there in Hubli, Dharwad for quite some time. I was there for 3 nights, actually. And I spoke to a large number of people and a large number of first-time voters. And it was very interesting what they were telling me. I mean, I put out that story also, but I remember they were telling me that, you know, it's not right that Jagdish Shettar left the BJP. He could have either contested as an independent, but him joining the Congress party, which is ideologically completely different from what he was talking about, makes it very clear to us that for him, all that matters is contesting elections and getting a ticket. And the sense one got from the ground is that many people were miffed with the idea of Jagdish Shettar actually leaving the BJP and joining the Congress party. And even the Congress insiders, I mean, you know, they can go wrong, I can also go wrong, but the Congress insiders are calculating that Jagdish Shettar may actually end up losing from what has been his bastion. So, you know, I mean, towards the end, I remember Yedurappa and all of them were there. So they felt, you know, if he had to leave, then why did he not contest as an independent?
Shivani had a point.
In fact, you had a word with Jagdish Shettar.
Yeah, I spoke to Jagdish Shettar. I asked him exactly this question. What about, how will you reconcile your politics now that you are in a diametrically opposite party? So obviously, as any politician would, he just said, for example, on issues like Muslim reservation, which Congress wants to bring back. So he said, you know, whatever I want to say, I will put it in the party forum now. So that's the, you know, safe way he evaded that question. But on the issue of, you know, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, I just wanted to say that these elections will also be very crucial because Karnataka is one of those states, one that swings from, you know, one party to another over the last 30 years. But also state and central elections, people are very clear they vote differently. So there was no doubt that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was hugely popular. But that's not a problem for the voter to not vote. Not for the BJP.
At the state level, their leader is different. Zaka, before we come to the wall, just Aman, you were making a point of the other day that the diminishing returns of Prime Minister at the state level, whereas there is no brainer in terms of what they want at the centre. You see that happening on ground, or do you believe that the Karyakartas, see, Gujarat is not just PM, Gujarat is also the Karyakartas, the booth level work that's happened. You think the BJP was present at the booths and they've done the kind of rigor that they need to do?
See, I think, Anand, that at some earlier part of, you know, we could go back some years, Prime Minister Narendra Modi could also swing a state election fully. You know, he had that charisma, he has done it. We've seen it in UP, in Uttarakhand, in Tripura. But I believe if you don't have strong state leadership, if you don't have a strong CM face, there is also a limit to how much the PM can do. You know, the double engine has to work like a double engine. It can't be double engine shifting totally to Mr. Modi. And I think Mr. Modi in one of the BJP meetings had told this to people, the BJP cadre, that you need to go and mere naam pe kitna election jeetoge. You know, khud bhi to aap down pe mehnat kariye. I think that's a test case in Karnataka. Anyways, in Karnataka, people have voted far more enthusiastically for the BJP in a Lok Sabha election than they have ever done for an assembly election. That I think Mr. B.L. Santosh also admitted that on Twitter space. But if you don't have a strong state leadership, strong face, and definitely in Karnataka, you know, B.S. Bommai had very, very large shoes to fill of B.S. Yedurappa. And, you know, he was pitted against somebody like a Siddaramaiah, who's a mass leader, you know, who himself alone commands a 20, 21, 22% loyal vote base. As the Kurbas, the Muslims, if you combine that. So obviously, Mr. Bommai was up against a big challenge, and I think that is the election.
The other aspect is, Yogi is a very strong local face in Uttar Pradesh. There was a certain Yogi vote in the UP election, Zaka. There's a certain Bhupendra Patel equation within Gujarat where he's seen as a good guy. He's a clean leader. Bommai, Basavara, did he even have that kind of a traction which is so positive?
Well, he's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy, but I'm just saying as a leader.
Nobody says bad things about him, except that. So I spent half a day with him. I spent half a day with him, first at his personal residence, then at his official residence. And this is election season, right? This is campaigning at its peak. I didn't see a single BJP party worker. Not even a hanger-on, you know. Forget about somebody who's just you know, coming there as a... It was just the security personnel and it was his personal staff. And I think that says something. And the next day, I went to Varana to meet Siddaramaiah. And that was a completely... I mean, I've not seen that kind of craze for a politician. Of course, Mr. Modi's roadshow was very, very popular on Saturday. But the Friday that we went to Mysore, DP and I went to Mysore, it was... I mean, the only other politician I've seen that kind of madness for is Jayalalitha. In comparison, in comparison. Because it's like almost cult-like. It was like almost like a film star. In fact, he was campaigning with Shivraj Kumar, who's a big name in the Kannada film industry. But people were not there to, you know, see Shivraj Kumar. They were there to see Siddaramaiah. No, one of the myths I think which will break in this election is this whole Lingayat vote is breaking up, or the Lingayats are moving away from the BJP. Let's be very, very clear about this. The Lingayat vote in Karnataka is Yediyurappa's vote. The Lingayats are voting for the BJP because of Yediyurappa. The only time the Lingayats have gone away from the BJP was in 2013 when Yediyurappa split. He formed his own party. That's why all of these Lingayat belt seats, instead of saffron, you see blue, right? So the Yediyurappa vote, because this time his son has been accommodated, and I think he's sent out that message very clearly to his caste and community folks that, look, my son has been accommodated. I have voluntarily stepped down as chief minister. I think the community vote will, by and large, stay with the BJP.
Okay.
Can I add a thing about Prime Minister Modi one more time? In this case, I don't think it's going to be so much about whether he can swing the state, but I think if he can bring the BJP to better seats, that in itself is the PM Modi factor.
But I'm just asking, there, on the seats, and since you've got your hands on the wall, sir, let's bring in the wall. See, the Congress was at 80 the last time around. Yeah. But when the shift happened, the defections happened, they actually slipped into the late 60s, high 60s, 65, 67. Yeah. Okay. Now, they have to traverse a far greater journey if they have to get to 120. That means they've got to not just gain from the BJP, they also got to gain from the JDS. Yeah. If they have to get to 120, let's bring in everybody, Rohini and all of you weigh in once Zaka gets this on the wall. Where do you think the Congress will make those numbers? Because they will have to hold their 65 seats plus get another 50 odd seats. That's what they'll have to do.
No, I'm very clear. It'll be in southern Karnataka. It'll be in old Mysore. And it'll be largely at the expense of the JDS. One of the things why the BJP has not been able to, come to power on its own in Karnataka is because they are largely, I wouldn't say absent, but their presence in old Mysore is very, very minimal. It's very, very negligible. And they've been trying to make inroads into the Vokaliga bastion, trying to project Vokaliga leaders like Ashok and Sudhakar and so on. But I don't see evidence that the Vokaligas are shifting their loyalties from the JDS to the BJP. And both Siddaramaiah and DK Shivkumar come from this belt. One represents the Gaudas, the other represents the other backward classes. I think this region, the messaging that's gone is you've had chief ministers from outside of old Mysore for the last 10, 12 years. You get a chance to elect a chief minister. I think I saw both DKS's campaign and Siddaramaiah's campaign. Both of them were saying that the next chief minister will come from here. And I think that is something that will resonate in this region. And the polar opposite was happening in the JDS's campaign because, Kumaraswamy was not really campaigning as much, certainly not as much as what he did last time. Old man Gowda was campaigning. He was in a wheelchair. He's 94 years old. But how much can a 94-year-old campaign? I think the sense in the Vokaliga community was also that this time it'll be the Congress's vote. And mind you, in old Mysore, it's always been Congress versus JDS.
But was it also that they realized that it's about stability? They would rather go for, they have played the role of kingmaker and become king in multiple cases. Yeah. They have done business with the BJP, also with the Congress. They would rather go with a party which could have a clear mandate.
So last time what happened was Kumaranna became this thing. They wanted to vote for Kumaranna. They wanted to make Kumaranna chief minister, right? And that happened. Yes. That happened. None of us were expecting that a party with 37 seats would find a chief minister and a party with 80 seats would back it. But Kumaranna became chief minister. And then there was all kinds of issues between JDS and Congress. The next Lok Sabha elections, they ended up getting just 2 seats. So, and most importantly, the family itself was not on the same page. Just on that one Hassan seat, they were not able to agree. Yeah. I think the JDS will lose quite a bit in this election.
I tell you, Aman, last time around, it was Devegowda versus H.D. Kumaraswamy. Saying Devegowda leaning towards one side, H.D. Kumaraswamy swing. But despite that, they got 37 seats. They are shrinking in that region. But they were not actively campaigning there. They're still the same autos doing the rounds. But somewhere in that Mandya, Mysore, Hassan region, there is no taking over, moving away from the JDS. You think that's going to happen? And even if 57, may say the Congress wins, say 25, 26 seats compared to 17 last time. So they add 10 seats more. You think that's enough to get to that 115 number?
BJP, Anand, clearly doesn't want JDS to collapse in Karnataka. BJP doesn't want that at any cost. JDS, yes. If the JDS collapses, Congress is forming the government. It's very clear in Karnataka. Another very interesting point I picked from a Congress leader in Karnataka was that, we all in the media, he said you are all saying that the Bajrang Dal was a big faux pas, but you don't realize that this also unites the Muslim voter in old Mysore, which had traditionally always voted along with the Vokaligas for the JDS. maybe the Muslim voter, even in old Mysore, is going to vote for the Congress because of that Bajrang Dal point. And that may be the reason why Congress gets a big hold in the old Mysore region and forms the government. So I think both spins are being given now to that.
So, but old Mysore ke saath, Rohini and Harish, the Congress will also have to make big inroads in Hyderabad, Karnataka, coastal Karnataka. If they have to get to that 115 number on their own, or even what the mega poll of polls shows as 104 or 108. Rohini.
Well, if you could just repeat the question because I couldn't hear you very clearly.
Yeah, I'm asking you, where all will the Congress have to make deep inroads? Because they have to go from 65 to 115.
Right. So they seem to have been gaining in areas like especially, and I agree with the regions that our senior reporters also have been talking about. There is Old Mysore region, central Karnataka, but we should also not forget the fact that they will gain in certain parts of coastal Karnataka as well. So this is also the reason being there are fresh new faces that the BJP has fielded, so has the Congress, but the Congress candidates seem to have done a lot more groundwork than the BJP leaders themselves. But at the same time, if you look at the way that it is always said, and it is traditionally seen also through surveys, that whichever party does well in the old Mysore region tends to form the government in Karnataka. And this time, the Congress seems to have made a lot better inroads in the old Mysore region. And I agree with Aman also that the consolidation of the Muslim votes, especially after the Bajrang Dal issue, is also what has resonated on the ground as well. There is a feeling that those people who would vote for the JDS traditionally would also look at the Congress. But this time, if you look at the way the choice of the voter is in that old Mysore region between JDS and Congress, they feel that the Congress is a better party to vote for this time. Also because they feel that in terms of a small number, JDS is a much smaller number and will only be a kingmaker, but never the king.
So did that incident or that episode of bringing Bajrang Dal in the manifesto make it a bipolar contest? What was earlier a triangular contest? Harish, your thoughts on that, but I also want to understand from you, when we look at the JDS, particularly in these pockets that are being spoken about where there is a substantial Muslim vote, the Congress need not really have to do what they did in terms of Bajrang Dal ban. Was it a mistake or was this a strategy to make it a bipolar contest towards the end?
Well, talking to Congress leaders here, one thing seems to be clear, that message came from Delhi. It wasn't from the state leadership here. That's very clear, whether it's the Siddaramaiah camp or the DK Shivkumar camp. I beg to differ on why, the reasons given on why Old Mysore will go for Congress. Let's not forget, Congress is always strong in Old Mysore. Why did they lose badly in Old Mysore in 2018? Because you had Siddaramaiah in a campaign going in Mandya and saying, I swear on my mother, Kumaraswamy would never become the chief minister. The Vokaligas took it personally. They took this as an attack on Deve Gowda and his family. That's why the Congress was wiped out in Mandya. The JDS won all the 7 seats there. Similarly in Hassan and other places. This time round, the Congress has been careful. No personal attacks on Deve Gowda or his family. They've stuck to the issues there, their candidates, and saying JDS hasn't really worked for people of Mandya or the larger Old Mysore region. So I'm guessing the Congress will retain or in a way get back what it had lost in 2018. The second point is the Muslim vote in the Old Mysore region. It's traditionally been divided between the Congress and the JDS. This time around, there's a message that's gone in that wherever the fight is between the Congress and the BJP, the Muslims should vote for the Congress. Only wherever there's a fight between the Congress and the JDS, you need to make a choice. That's gone across in the community very clearly. We are talking about where the Congress gains, right? I've traveled extensively in Hyderabad, Karnataka region. The sense I got is that is one region where the Congress will gain substantially. Last time round, they got only 15 seats. In 2013, they had got 25 odd seats. This time, it looks like the Congress might even reach 30 seats over there. And that's why the Congress has focused on that area extensively and has ensured that they get a large chunk of seats from Hyderabad, Karnataka region. It looks very likely that the Congress will be the biggest party, especially in Hyderabad, Karnataka region.
Okay.
And that will really help the party gain or cross even 100
which
seats.
Which are these bellwether seats and where you actually visited and got a sense? And that's a question to both Rohini here in the studio, Aman, Pallavi. Harish, any bellwether seat you visited and got a sense?
Well,
yes, go ahead.
I'll give you an example, Maya. there is a constituency near Sindanur. There is a Congress candidate called Hampangowda. Last time he had lost by just 1,700 votes. This time the Congress focused on such seats. You had Siddaramaiah spending 2 days there, campaigning at 2 different places there and ensuring that they can win that seat, because Congress has identified several such seats where they have lost within a margin of say 3,000, 5,000 votes. Yeah. And these are the seats the Congress believes is very easy to get it now for 2 factors. One, the anti-incumbency and corruption. Second, if they focus on the candidates there, if they get Siddaramaiah to campaign extensively, they believe these are the seats they can win, and which will eventually push them above 100. Remember,
but there is something...
last time round, the Congress believed that 2 reasons.
I'm just saying, Harish, that exactly the exercise that the Congress is going to do in certain pockets, the exercise is going to be done by the BJP also.
So.
Now, is there any, quickly, because we have limited time, I also want to get in the fun part for our viewers, what, the standout moments before we get, we have to close or take a very short break at this point. And set up Result Day Live yet all over again. But Aman, let me ask you, what is the confidence that Mr. B.L. Santosh is having? How is it going from 24,000 booths to 31,000 booths? He's explaining the booths and saying, do the arithmetic.
The confidence is only in one word, Anand. It's Narendra Modi. They feel that Narendra Modi is if the BJP wins in Karnataka, the only person who gets credit is Narendra Modi. He is the one man who's carried the campaign not just on his shoulders, I think on his head, the BJP clearly has much thinking to do in their manner of, as I said, the state leadership, strengthening it the same. But I think Mr. Modi put in a Herculean effort, especially the road shows, his rallies, and the way he milked whatever, as Maria said, issues were given to him on a platter, how he encashed them in quintessential Modi style. The only reason of the confidence in the BJP camp is that Mr. Modi's magic has worked.
Was there a promise on ground which was made that there will be a complete overhaul of the BJP leadership?
Not really.
In the state?
Not really. That was not
if they come back to power?
But not really. No,
okay.
No.
I think one of the things was that it's not necessary that Bommai would be chief minister.
Yeah.
In fact, when I asked him what happens to Bommai after May 13th, he said, "Part care of me."
So they resisted saying that maybe that was
party will take care of me. Party will decide me. Party will take care of me. So that itself meant a lot. So VV Puram, the standout moment for you, or was it the skyscraper audience?
That was a nice one, because I've never been to that place. You could see Kantirva, you could see UB City. So Bangalore from the air is like a really nice view, because it has the highest green cover of any city. So you see a lot of the green from the air. But VV Puram was nice.
VV Puram, Harish was there. Harish
was there, yeah.
VV Puram, will you lock it in? You guys were having a lot of fun. We caught it on camera. But or was there some other standout moment for you?
VV Puram was fun, but really the awareness of voters in, say, Sindanur, in Bellary, that was something that was... We didn't really anticipate. The awareness on issues, the awareness on what really is getting politicized and what are the real issues.
So
we tend to at times overestimate the urban crowd and underestimate the rural crowd, but the awareness there actually much more than what we see in the urban crowd.
Frankly, in Gujarat, in Uttar Pradesh, where I was in the rural areas also, I realize and echo this sentiment. It seems to be a trend across the country. In Bengaluru also, in some of the rural pockets, when you go down there and you talk, when you go down at the class level, not even the caste level, the class level as Shivani was mentioning, you see the awareness, the understanding is very different, very, very clear. Rohini, standout moment for you?
Well, standout moment for me was the Modi blitzkrieg in Bangalore. Trust me, that has turned the things around for the seats for the BJP in Bangalore. Let me tell you that initially they were not very confident of too many seats or keep retaining their seats. But I think after he came, and there's a number of satin flowers and petals that were poured, and Ghar Ghar Modi that he knocked at every door and every road that he went into, that certainly has made its effect. Had an effect, because I had friends who, week turned around and they said, now I think I should vote for Modi. I think, the Bangalore will no more sink if there's a double engine government. So that's the kind of sentiment that you can get. So clearly,
we'll have to see if they really need to do well in Bengaluru to have any hopes of getting to the into pole position. Neetu and Akshara, quickly before we bring it back into the studio. Yes, Neetu.
So before that, I'd just like to make one quick point when you're talking about JDS. I was in Ramnagara the other day, and this is more known as like a family constituency because from Devegowda to now Nikhil Kumaraswamy is there. But there also a sense that I was getting is that among the youngsters, many are like, this family has been ruling here for so many years, and they have not really done much for it, be it education. They need to even now depend on Bangalore or Mangalore for good colleges. So that was one thing which I saw was a shift, especially among youngsters. But a 35-40 plus would still say, no, they have done much, the family has done much. Now, if you ask me about the standout moment, definitely for me it was visiting the Badami rock caves and also the Pattadakal temples, the Chalukyan monuments, I should say, that just stood out.
Yes.
And also the Gol Gumbaz, which is like the world's second largest dome.
Yes.
I think that is the fun part of any election travel.
No, and when you go to these, they are so mind-blowingly amazing. You just wonder why it's not shown to the whole world and why is the whole world not getting there. That's every time you go there, you feel that. Even with Hampi, you feel that. Yes, Akshara.
Well, my standout moment was me missing the flight to Hubli, where I was supposed to start my ground reporting from. But jokes apart, sorry, Saka sir. I got to interact with.
No, it's fine. Your budget is approved. Don't worry.
So learn about the culture of my own land. So that was, I enjoyed a lot.
Lovely. Zaka, maaf kar do yaar.
No, his budget is approved. Don't worry.
budget is approved. For you, Shivani and Pallavi?
The Sholay Hills, actually. Where Amar and I went there.
Ramgarh.
So I couldn't see Basanti. We couldn't see all that. It was actually beautiful and amazing. Yeah.
So Sholay Hills, we climbed
400 steps.
400 steps along
he was
with
puffing and
our
panting. I
DJ,
managed to do
Mr.
it.
Naveen Bansal. And the fun part is
do it.
that we shot it at one location and then we found a better location and Pallavi started abusing me, saying, "Sabko TV aata hai kya?"
No, you're misquoting me. But as I said, I have a better hang of what is a better location.
Thank God she didn't make you climb 400 steps again.
So I was a lot in coastal Karnataka. I was taken by the beauty of coastal Karnataka. And I think when you visit there, you do want more tourism and travel and, better facilities there because it is so beautiful. Hear about the backwaters of Kerala. You don't really hear that much about coastal Karnataka, which is so serene and so beautiful. And people are lovely. As I said, they're more muted than what we are used to.
Absolutely.
Usually North Indians, if I can say that. But they're very, very, very welcoming. And along with in coastal Karnataka, I should point out, the whole Bajrangbali factor is going to be big.
It's going to be big.
Yeah, and here is where Bajrangbali matters. A lot of the BJP candidates have Bajrang Dal background.
Quite a few rallies were also there, so he's very popular there.
And this area has voted quite a bit. I was looking at the poll percentage. The poll percentage in coastal Karnataka is one of the highest. Now, who that benefits, we'll have to wait and see. But clearly, that Bajrang Dal, factor would have polarized
उनका कहना है कि हमारे वोटर निकल के आए हैं. So as you say, अरे अमन,
encapsulates the election. Maybe when I asked Pallavi at Sholay Hills के कितने आदमी थे, she said 2. कांग्रेस में 2 थे, सिद्धारमैया और डीके शिव कुमार. तो ऐसे बीजेपी में एक ही है जो सब पे भारी है. तो that will determine the election कि 2 important है कि एक ही प्रधानमंत्री सब पे
Well,
भारी
it's Result Day Live. To all the entire team, kudos, phenomenal work that you've done because there's been huge amount of viewership for the work that's been done. We've put out the entire coverage on the News18 network and I'm sure a lot of you have already watched it. Thank you. They've all got to get on to their jobs because the counting is going to start very, very soon, ladies and gentlemen. And it's one of the last breaks that we're going to take through this course of Result Day Live. On the way out, a quick check where the mega poll of polls stand. They say Congress will be the single largest party, similar position as the BJP the last time around. BJP will be somewhere better than the Congress the last time around, but still well short. And the JDS could get to play kingmaker. Why has Mr. Kumaraswamy embarked into Singapore? Why is he not taking calls? These are all questions that remain. But will it all matter? Will he have to take a flight back? Or will he be relevant? We'll tell you after a very, very short break. Stay with us here on Result Day Live.